Hi guys, I'm Isha. Welcome back to my channel. Today what I want to talk about is how to be a little less intimidating. If you are a very strong personality, chances are people find you very intimidating. Chances also are people are kind of scared of even being around you. If you have those problems, chances are you need a little help, which is why you're here on this channel watching this video, which is also another reason you should really subscribe to the channel. So subscribe to the channel because I have so many more videos coming which are similar to the subject and they might be very useful for you. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and now let's get straight into the video. So there's many ways people I think can be intimidating. Sometimes just their nature, their personality is so intimidating. Sometimes it's just behavior patterns. So if you already know where you stand, it will be easier for you to kind of dial it down a notch, because just to make it easy for people around you, okay? Being intimidating, can also kind of be nice. The reason you're intimidating is because you know what you stand for. You have the guts to stand for what you believe in. For example, a weak personality might never be able to stand up and fight for what's right. Let's say if somebody's bullying someone in front of you. If you're a weak personality, you would be like, you know what, I don't want to get involved. Let me just watch from a distance. Oh my god, I feel bad, but I'm never going to do anything about it, right? Whereas a strong personality, a bossy personality, in other words, an intimidating personality, will just stand up and fight and literally shout and scream, because for them, that's what is the right thing to do. And they have no shame, they don't have any self-esteem issues, they don't have any confidence problems. They're actually very powerful in their own mind, so they don't have a problem speaking up for themselves as well as for others, right? So I feel like in that way, maybe being a little intimidating as a lady can really help you along your journey quite a lot. I feel like sometimes being a woman, being a very strong-minded personality can just often lead towards a lot of misunderstandings. For a woman who has a very strong mind, has a lot of knowledge, maybe is educated, knows what she wants, that strong-mindedness, that knowledge, I think that on its own can sometimes lead people to think that, oh my god, she's so bossy, it's so hard to deal with her, she's so strong opinionated. So it's really difficult for people to even conceive you as a normal person, because they often think that you are a very bossy person, you're very high maintenance, it's gonna be so hard for them to be around you and stuff like that. And even sometimes you will find that as an intimidating person, your friends might also sometimes be so overwhelmed where they don't understand how to behave in front of you. I think that is one of the problems intimidating people face quite a lot. However, that being said, I think to a certain degree you can see that being intimidating to a certain degree can also be a very good advantage for yourself, in your journey of life. For example, when you see a lot of people in a position of power, they use their intimidation actually as a power to convince other people, because intimidation is kind of also an art, and for people who are intimidating, it is so easy for them to convince others. They have such strong opinions and they know how to back it up, and they will be able to convince you so easily of what they think is right. However, that being said, it's also very difficult for people around them to actually convince them. A person who has such a strong personality is honestly not very easily convinced. They don't trust easily because most of their motives are actually based on a lot of knowledge. So if you don't have the knowledge to back up your opinions, an intimidating person is actually not going to be even affected by that at all. Intimidating people, especially ladies, there's also another thing, they can actually also be very confrontational. And I think sometimes being confrontational is not really seen as a ladylike quality. Sometimes when you are very confrontational and you know how to speak and you're expressive, people oftentimes get scared of that too, because if you look at it, it's a very powerful thing to do. I feel like people, I think generally me also being somewhat of an intimidating personality, I feel like it's so easy for people to just hide their feelings, hide from the situation, and just go in a hiding cat and mouse zone and ignore what's going on. I feel like that is something a weak personality does. They just kind of don't have the guts to confront what's happening, to express, solve the problem, and then go and sleep with peace. Whoever is not able to do that, I feel like they kind of lack that guts. I think we also live in an age here where nowadays I feel like people are so easy to cut off each other, right? Like as soon as something happens, nobody is going to try and build connections, nobody's going to try and work on their relationships and stuff like that. So people oftentimes avoid confrontation. A person who has a very strong, intimidating personality will have no problem confronting you whatsoever. They know they have the guts, they know they have those opinions, they know how to back themselves up. They will speak. They will be very assertive and they will speak their mind. I think in their mind is also because they're such strong personalities who don't have any self-esteem problems, so they just convey whatever they feel and think, not really caring what you think. So that makes them actually very confrontational. It can come across as very selfish and rude sometimes, but oftentimes it's not coming from a bad place if you think about it. So I feel like being an intimidating woman has a lot of benefits to it, but it also obviously plays a very important part where it comes to like people not finding it very easy to be around you, right? And also if you're on a journey to be a bit more ladylike, to be a bit more feminine, then honestly you will have to dial it down a notch. Try not to be that confrontational. Instead, just take your time, think about things through a little bit more, give the other person some time as well, and then approach the confrontational part a little slowly. And don't talk too much. Let the other person speak a little bit as well, because I think one thing we need to understand is, I think being an intimidating person myself, to a certain degree, I've always been that way. I think even as a teenager, I had a very, very strong personality. And I think the thing with intimidating people is that people often can misunderstand you. People think you're a very cold person, very standoffish, very mean, very cold-spirited, who maybe might appear a little arrogant, who thinks they know it all, you know. So these are very common misconceptions that a lady would have if, let's say, she has an intimidating personality. People who are intimidating usually have a lot of knowledge as well. They love knowledge, knowing what is right. They love to create their own rules. They love to stick to their own morals, which is why it is so hard for them to trust people, which is also why you will see intimidating people often lead in many areas of their life. They would always probably be a boss in their company. They would probably be leading the whole country as a president or whatever. They have usually very, very intimidating personality, like in a way that when they speak, they know how to convince you. When they speak, they know how to make you trust. When they speak, they know how to make you listen to them. And that is a very, very convincing power. But in real life, if you face a person like that, obviously it is going to be very intimidating and you're going to be very, very scared as well, right? As a woman, if you are like that, then it is like 100 times more scary for people for some reasons. I don't know why. A problem intimidating people often also face is that they can really not even trust people as much. Usually they're also seen as the wiser ones in the whole group, you know, so people would come to them and ask for their opinions, ask for their help and stuff, but for themselves they usually don't know who to go to because they're so assertive, they're so intimidating. They kind of often, they're seen like they know it all, when sometimes they might not know it all. But when they go to someone for help, they might not be able to get that help. And the reason why is because other people usually think that they know everything, so why would they even need help? So it's so difficult for them to really get the help that they need sometimes, because that's just how they're kind of conceived by others. I think another good side of being intimidating as a lady, the reason I'm talking about the good and the bad is because if you are an intimidating personality, it's really important for you to really know yourself, to know your values, and then figure out when to dial it down and when to use this power that you have. Because let's be honest, not everybody is blessed with this type of quality, and I don't want you to be so hard on yourself as to where you think you just have to really change everything to a 180 degree, right? So coming back to the good thing that I wanted to mention is, I think, is that you bring out the best in people sometimes, and you will find that so useful, especially at workplace, especially in the dating life, especially with friends or social groups in general. You will find this quality very useful, which is that you really bring out the best in people, but also sometimes you trigger the worst in people. And the reason is because people know that in order to even please you or talk to you, they have to come correct. They have to be correct, otherwise they kind of feel rejected, and you know human beings strive on the feeling of being accepted, on the feeling of being acknowledged and admired, and they know in your presence they might not have that pleasure only because of your personality. Do you understand? So in their mind they need to make sure that they come correct, otherwise they stand no chance with you. So in certain areas of your life you might find this quality to be very useful for you. For example, let's say if you're in a workplace, who do you think colleagues and people would be messing with the most? The strong, assertive, intimidating lady, or the one who is the sweetest, the kindest, the cutest, that you just see her and you can just tell that I can get away with a lot of things when it comes to her. So of course, who is going to get the most trouble? You get the point, right? Let's also talk about the dating life. Well, I have noticed that people, women actually, who are a little bit more intimidating, guys often know that, okay, I cannot even, she is way out of my league, I cannot even approach, I just can't, man. In order to get to her, I really need to come correct. And I don't have my life together, so I cannot come correct. So that way you can filter out literally the crappy people out of your life, if that makes sense. Let's talk about another thing. Another downfall to being intimidating is that you oftentimes would feel a little lonely, only because of the reason that you're misunderstood so easily. For example, I think in this world that we live in at the moment, we're so accepting of the fact that people don't have that much self-esteem. We're so used to hearing everybody say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a bad hair day. Oh, I'm sorry, I look fat today. Oh, I'm sorry, I look so ugly today. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a swollen face today. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so skinny. Oh, I'm sorry, I've lost so much weight now. We are so used to listening to these things. We are so accepting of low self-esteem, but we are not accepting of people when we see them have a lot of self-esteem. Wow, that's where the jealousy kicks in, that's where the competitiveness kicks in, that's where a lot of problems kick in, right? Because we kind of don't understand, how is that even possible? Hello? So when you see intimidating people, it kind of triggers that little bit of an insecurity inside of you, because you're so confused. How can somebody be that self-aware, that self-accepting, that self-assured? I mean, just look at them. I mean, if you notice people who are intimidating, they are so okay with just being in their own skin. They love their own company. They're just okay by being lonely. If you ever see them out in public places or like in social gatherings, they're okay just being themselves. And oftentimes they come across as very arrogant. They might not be arrogant at all. That is just a misunderstanding. That's just how they come across. So if you want to dial that down a notch, then just be a bit more friendly. And I think one easy step you can take right now is that when you're outside, when you are in social gatherings or like social groups or parties or events or family get-togethers, whatever it is, if you are seen where there is a lot of people, then just try and have a little bit of a smile on your face. And I think another thing that really helps is if you go for makeup colors that are way lighter in texture and color. For example, just a dewy makeup is way more softer than a full-on matte makeup look. Does that make sense? If you are intimidating, a full-on matte makeup look, a full-on red matte lipstick, it kind of adds on to that intimidating layers. Does that make sense? So if you come down a little bit, soften it down a little bit, knowing that you have an intimidating personality, just wear colors that are so soft and feminine. Wear makeup which is more like earthy color or maybe more pink color, peach color. Don't make it too smoked out and too red and too dark and too much of a tan and too much of bronzed, because that makes your look a lot stronger. So bring it down a little bit, make it very, very softer so that you don't appear that arrogant. So you will appear a little more softer, a little bit more feminine, a little bit more approachable. And that is what you want to be. You want to be a bit more approachable. So softer colors and a lighter dewy makeup is going to really help you with that. Don't do very strong extreme eyebrows. If you think about it, if you look at somebody's eyebrows and if they are so arched, so perfectly shaped, so strong, and maybe way too much penciled with a black color, it comes across as like a very, very strong charactered person. like you kind of get scared, right? So soften that down a little bit. Even if you have to tint your eyebrows, I don't mind. Just maybe go ahead and do that. If that gives you a softer look, do exactly that. Maybe experiment a little bit with your hair colors. I oftentimes find that if I have a black hair dye, hair color, it makes me look older and stronger and more masculine, which is why for ages I have now I just stick to this one brown caramelly color, because it just gives me a softer, more youthful vibe. It's also more approachable. And so you have to figure out a few things that you can play with when it comes to your looks, because that would give people the impression of you being a more feminine, a more balanced person. That way you will also come across as a bit more friendly. However, talking about the personality, you will still be the same, right? If you are not very trusting of others, if you are very confrontational, if you're very harsh with your opinions, be a little laid back with that. Don't try to impose your opinions on others, and just have some respect that, you know what, just like you have the right to have opinions, everybody else has that right too, and they don't need to impose that on you, but you also do not need to impose that on them. So take it easy. And I think a part of being emotionally intelligent is also just being accepting of the fact that everybody has their opinions, and it is none of your business, and it is not your problem. Another thing that intimidating people do quite often is they think it is their responsibility to kind of correct everyone, or to just reject everyone just because they think they're wrong. It's not your responsibility. So don't take that burden on yourself, and just calm down and take it easy and just let it go. Let everybody have their own problems. It's none of your problem. And because you have an intimidating personality, it also means that you do not like small talk. You like meaningful connections. You make very few friends, like really very few friends, but really good ones, and you just want to stick to them. However, sometimes you make it really difficult for your friends to even be around you, because, as I said, you're not very trusting, you're very controlling. I don't think controlling is the word. I feel like you want to take the lead all the time and stuff, and that is, I think, a lot of burden on you. That is a lot of responsibility, which, again, just relieve yourself of that. You do not need that, because it can make your friends really, really overwhelmed. And when they're overwhelmed, they might not dislike you, but it will just become so difficult for them to be around you somehow. Which is, again, why you see a lot of intimidating ladies oftentimes being just lonely and on their own. It's like nobody even kind of likes them. Even though they're really nice people, they might not be a bad person, but because of them being so harsh on everything, it just makes them so unbearable for people to be around them. Because sometimes, as I said, you can bring out the best in people, but sometimes you also can bring the worst in people, where they just kind of become very resentful. They might dislike you. They will still always respect you. I think that is one good thing, again, about being intimidating, is that people do respect you low-key, even if they don't express that, because they know you're very, very strong. You know what you want, you know what you stand for, you have morals, you have your own rules, and you're so strong about that. People can get jealous quite a lot as well, and people can become competitive. People can give you all sorts of troubles in that way, but deep down they kind of still respect you, because for them it's still like an unbelievable sort of thing, like, how can someone just be like that? Why are we not that strong? Oh. But at the same time, they will also say, oh my god, she's so arrogant, she's so difficult to be around. Oh my god, no. You know what? No. They admire you from a distance, but they just cannot have the courage to link up with you closely, if that makes sense. So calm down. Don't think everything is your responsibility. Let friends have their fun. You try to have fun. Be a bit more open. Also try, I know you don't like meaningless talk sometimes, but if you are around your friends sometimes and there is really no big deal to talk about, or a big thing to talk about or discuss, then you know what, it's okay. Just be easy and let them talk whatever crap is coming, right? Go with the flow, learn to be a bit more easy, laid back and chilled, because being very intimidating, again, it can be a cause of your own downfall eventually later in life as well. Think about it. So soften down your looks. I think that is the first thing you can literally start with right now. Soften down your looks, change the color of your hair and your clothing and stuff, and literally in no time you can at least appear to be a bit more softer and not as intimidating and harsh. You know, you want to be a bit more welcoming. So the looks, I think, is the one thing you can start immediately, but I think working on the personality part does take a little bit more practice. It takes a bit more time, it takes a bit more training, a lot of practice also, but you can do that, right? You definitely can do that. If you want to, you definitely can soften down a notch. Another thing you can do is please try not to reject everything and everyone just sometimes because of your opinions. Just be open to the fact that sometimes what you think is not right for you might just be the right thing, right? So don't be rejecting very, very quickly. Because intimidating people are so strong-minded, it is so easy for them to just know, okay, no, I don't want that. No, that's it, I'm out. Like, they're so quick to reject things that they think is just not for them. So why even waste time, right? Again, don't be so quick at jumping on the rejection bandwagon because you don't know, it could be right too. Just be open to new experiences, be open to change, and I think that would really help you along your journey. Guys, I hope this video helps you. If you want more videos kind of similar to this subject or anything else, please comment down below and I will try and make a video for you guys. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel before you leave this video. Give this video a thumbs up as well if you think it helps. Also, do share this video with your friends who you think might benefit from this video. I might also do a part 2 of this video. I'm not sure. If you guys want me to do that, please let me know down in the comments below. Guys, also, if you want me to be your coach on this journey, you can book sessions with me. Let me be your coach. Let me help you along your journey, soften you down a little bit, because we know it's going to take some time and it's going to take some practice. But if you have the guidance and the right steps given to you, then it will be so easy for you to achieve that goal. So again, the link will be given in the description below. Guys, until my next video, take care.